Elon Musk may be the world's richest man, but is his pro-Kremlin political stance going to cost Tesla billions and billions of dollars, euros in sales, in particular in Europe? Привit, my name is Connor Klein, an expert in international relations, and welcome to Geopolitics with me, Connor Klein. We are focusing here on the Russo-Ukrainian war, and Elon Musk is becoming a rather significant figure in this war. Back in 2022, surprisingly at this point, he actually was initially quite supportive of the Ukrainian people when Russia launched its extended invasion by trying to seize the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, in February 2022. However, there was a bit of a turning point, I guess, in hindsight when one of Elon Musk's other companies, Starlink, which was providing much needed assistance to the Ukrainian military, Elon Musk apparently refused to turn it on to cover Crimea, which is Ukrainian territory de jure, but illegally occupied by Moscow. The Ukrainians wanted to launch an attack on the Black Sea Fleet that was located in Sevastopol in Crimea, and Elon Musk apparently refused, saying that he didn't want to start World War III. So already a pretty consistent pro-Kremlin talking point with that. Of course, later on, the Ukrainians did attack the Black Sea Fleet, and in fact, they have more or less defeated the Black Sea Fleet, so it had to be mainly withdrawn actually out of Crimea to Russia, de jure Russia proper, in another port on the Black Sea called Novorossiysk. That was kind of a starting point in hindsight for this turning point in his support, or at least open support. He then acquired X, it was known at the time as Twitter, and there he has continuously retweeted or recirculated posts that follow a pro-Kremlin narrative. That has been the vast majority of the content that he has sent out on his own platform at this point. And now we see a bit of a backlash towards Tesla in Europe. Elon Musk is now playing a significant role in the new Trump administration with Doge, which ostensibly is to reduce public expenditure, wasteful public expenditure in the United States. However, there have been several incidents in which Elon Musk has rather upset many people in Europe, and this is directly affecting the sales of Tesla, it would appear. The European electric vehicle market, of course, Tesla actually has two of the leading models. I think they're actually the two highest selling models in the European Union. It is a market that is worth $251 billion, and it's expected to grow to $383 billion by 2029. So there's a huge amount of money to be made there. However, year on year, in January, sales of Teslas are down 60% approximately in France and 60% approximately in Germany. That is in spite of the year-on-year growth of over 10% of the electric vehicle market. So even though the market is getting bigger, the sale of Teslas has plummeted. And a lot of this is being associated with the branding of being associated with Elon Musk. Elon Musk has taken a few steps, not just rhetorically, but also more concretely in the last couple of months that are considered rather negatively by the vast majority of Europeans, and probably, more importantly, the type of European who's going to buy an electric vehicle. Elon Musk, first of all, was openly campaigning for a party in the recent German elections, the Alternative für Deutschland, and promoted them on the platform X, as well as appearing virtually at their political rallies. This is connected to the Trump administration. We had back around, it must be about a month ago now, the Munich Security Conference, at which American Vice President J.D. Vance stood up, and instead of giving the normal we're all together NATO speech about how the United States is going to stand with its allies, in particular in light of the Russo-Ukrainian war, J.D. Vance instead described China and Russia as not the principal enemies or adversaries of Europe, however, that European democracies are, and in particular, he cited Germany and Romania. On top of that, J.D. Vance also met then with the leader of the Alternative für Deutschland. Could be seen by some as election interference by a leading US politician. In any case, Elon Musk has been associated with that brand. On top of other things that he's done, there was on the inauguration day of Donald Trump, there was the infamous autistic issue with raising his right arm, which seemed to resemble a Roman fascist Nazi salute. Take your pick how you want to describe that. That has led to a backlash kind of globally, especially in the United States, with a takedown Tesla, many protests. These have also spread to Europe. On top of that, Elon Musk, because he runs Starlink, and the Trump administration in the last 2 weeks since that diplomatic debacle in the Oval Office where they were, J.D. Vance and Donald Trump basically shouted down Volodymyr Zelensky in public, they have since cut off military aid to the Ukrainian state. Also, they have stopped sharing intel. They've stopped other private companies from sharing intel with the Ukrainians. Now they're compromising the F-16s that were donated by European countries to Ukraine. On top of that, Elon Musk with Doge has basically dissolved USAID. And in spite of what they might try to promote on X, the main recipient of USAID financially was Ukraine. In fact, it was not lesbian cartoons somewhere in Latin America. The biggest recipient was Ukraine. So interesting that he wanted to dissolve such a part of the US apparatus. So Elon Musk has taken many of these steps. On top of it, he has been particularly undiplomatic with his language. He got into another spat with a leading European politician just yesterday, the Polish foreign minister, who Elon Musk described in a post on X as a little man. The furor came over an alleged threat to now cut off Starlink to the Ukrainian military. However, it's actually Poland that is paying for that as a kind of defensive measure to make sure that the Americans will reconsider cutting off that element of Ukraine's defense. This, of course, and the undiplomatic response by Elon Musk further push an image of someone who is in the Kremlin's on the Kremlin side, if not in the Kremlin's pocket. Also, X itself was not just purely bought by Elon Musk, it was also bought with money that comes from Russia, some investors. So there is this image in terms of how he has set up himself politically, supporting parties like Alternative für Deutschland, which are particularly friendly to the Kremlin. Alternative für Deutschland wants to restart energy supplies from Russia. It doesn't really care so much what happens east of Germany in Europe. On top of that, he had his incident on the inauguration day, which had echoes of the late 1930s. And he has, in the past, cut off or refused to turn on Starlink for a significant Ukrainian military operation. And now there are at least rumors and a diplomatic spat over whether Starlink will be cut off from the Ukrainian military. Plus, he already gutted USAID, which of course was giving money to Ukraine. So all this together paints Elon Musk as being, on the whole, against Europe and in favor of Moscow. And that's probably not the best way to sell Teslas in the European market. So, as I said, the market is expected to grow by over another $100 billion, euros, over the next 4 years. However, if you're investing in Tesla stock, you may want to consider the actions of the current CEO, Elon Musk, because they may end up not just costing Tesla and the world's richest man a lot of money, but also the investors in Tesla stock. And that may also lead to some new legal proceedings about his behavior. He has fought them off in the past successfully in the courts about what he's written on Twitter at the time, X as he's rebranded it. However, it's not clear whether he will be able to escape some financial and consequences through the courts if he continues to promote this pro-Kremlin line, and it leads to a continued drop in sales and the profits of the Tesla company. So I'm going to leave it at that. Drop your comments down below in the comment section what you think of Tesla, Elon Musk, and his behavior. Would you describe him as being pro-Kremlin yourself with his political stances? The whole Trump administration has upended U.S. foreign policy in the last few weeks, marking a major departure from the post-World War II global order. And Elon Musk is playing a significant part in that, even though he is not actually an elected representative in the United States. So I will leave you on that note and say Slava Ukraini, Horam Slava, wearing an Estonian t-shirt in this video, back in the next one with something Ukrainian.